Minnesota's first postseason road win in program history in the NCAA tournament. Minnesota will take on UCLA, 9:30 Central Time on Friday. It is being streamed on UCLA's Pac-12 Plus stream. The winner of that matchup between UCLA and Minnesota will take on the winner of NC State and Santa Clara Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Time. All right, so we'll open it up for questions right away.
Coach, you guys are used to the underdog role through the Big Ten tournament and last weekend as well. What have you learned about your team through that, and then what kind of level does it take against the UCLA team that's been on a roll?
Yeah, our team, I think, prides itself in being kind of the underdog because it seems like for these guys, the senior class, no matter what we do the year before, everybody counts us out heading into that next year. And so, what we've learned over the last few games with this team is the resilience and the fact that they really don't care what anybody else thinks. In terms of UCLA, tremendous team, tremendous program, but not the first time that we're seeing a program of that caliber. We played Stanford earlier in the year. We played Washington State, who beat UCLA this year. Penn State, definitely that caliber as well. So from our standpoint, we feel like we're well prepared to go into this caliber game, and it's something where, again, nobody outside of our own locker room expects us to be able to win this game. So all the pressure is off of us and squarely on their shoulders.
Emily, you scored your first collegiate goal, and it happened to be the match winner. What did it feel like to finally score after 4 seasons of trying to reach the back of the net? I know defense is your primary responsibility.
Yeah, it felt really cool. As I saw April go up to take the kick, I knew that she was going to be able to put it in a dangerous spot. So I was just trying to get something on it, and especially to get in that time of the season was really exciting. And just even watching the video back, seeing my teammates' reaction just made me feel even more excited about it, just knowing that I have their support and just knowing that I could do it for the team.
What does it mean for you to be playing soccer deeper into November?
It's awesome. Every game, the last 4 games we've been just fighting for our lives, and it's a fun game to be in because, for us, the pressure isn't really on us. Yes, we have to win to make it to the next round, but we're just going to go out there and give it our all, and it's a really fun atmosphere to be in.
What does take the stairs mean to you guys?
Take the stairs is that there's no easy way. There's no easy pathway. If you want to climb up to higher levels, it's all grit, grind, and work. And so, for us, we're not looking for an easy way. It's day to day grinding out the details that are important to put yourself in the position to win. For our program, there's 4 pieces that go along with that. The first is a selfless mentality, and you can just tell by the way that Emily Peterson spoke about her goal. It's all about the team, and that piece is absolutely critical. The second piece is the mentality. So are you prepared to put in the work? Are you prepared to compete with yourself to be a little bit better than you were the day before? And I think that our team has done that all year, continued to just inch our way forward to where if you look at where we are now compared to where we were when we started the season, it's all coming together because we continued to just put our nose to the grindstone and go with it. The preparation piece is the next piece. It's the controlling all those things that you can control, and these guys do that at a high level. So getting the sleep, the nutrition, the hydration, all of those pieces, especially with as much as we've been traveling right now, and the recovery from that piece as well is absolutely critical. And these guys pay attention to all those details. And then the final piece is elevating. So not just doing it yourself, but can you extend your hand to the person next to you and help them take those steps forward as well? So that's kind of our deal.
I don't know if you want me to answer. For me as a player, a lot of times in the season you can get caught up in different things like she says with the preparation, having a bunch of schoolwork and, having different things pulling you different ways. And I think the stairs really brings you back because every day is made up of choices. And it's kind of what attitude are you going to bring? What can you bring today that's going to make you better? And especially with the stairs, it gives you these 4 things that that every day that you can focus on. And if you're not in a good spot during a day, you can focus on those 4 things and be okay, am I elevating? Am I being selfless today? What can I do to put myself in that position? And it's just the little things that kind of add up to make the team better. So.
Emily, what did Coach say in the huddle on the field after the game?
Like every game, she always talks about how proud she is of us, and just how we came in from it's an away game against a team that is a good team. Just being able to get it done and other people stepping up, and set pieces was a big thing for us. We practiced a lot of those during practice, and just how important those were, and just being able to finish it out and move on to UCLA and play in that big match the next week.
Coach, how important is you talked about reestablishing the high press if you wanted to. Where was that identity lost, and how important has that been in your streak here?
It's been that piece of our identity is critical. To be honest with you, the fact that we like to play an uncomfortably high back line, if your press is not what it needs to be, that's a dangerous way to try to play. And so, I think for us as a coaching staff, you constantly want to build throughout the course of the season. And sometimes when we got focused on implementing that next thing, we didn't get enough focus on that kind of foundation of what makes us super, super successful. And so we had kind of moved on, and we've been trying to get a little bit more dynamic in our attack and some things from that standpoint. And, we kind of took that step back and we said, wait a second. We've got to get that back where it needs to be before we can continue to move forward. And so after the regular season game against Penn State, that's kind of where it was clear to us of, we haven't put enough emphasis on that as of late, because we were trying to do a little bit more on the attacking end. And since that game, it's been shutout after shutout. So it's a really, really important piece for us.
Emily, can you describe a little bit about your ACL injury and your recovery and how important it was to get back for this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I tore my ACL in March and came back late September. And for me, when I found out that I tore my ACL, it was devastating. Looking at the timeline, it was about 8 to 9 month recovery. So looking at the schedule, I was, thinking my senior season was over. Then as time was going on, we had done rehab. Corey had me on some plans that were really intensive for my ACL rehab. And then at about the 5.5 months mark, or the 4.5 month mark, I was talking to the doctor, and he said, we can look at you coming back earlier. So we took a look at the schedule, and he looked at the conference play, and he's like, all right, well, I'll meet with you right before then, and we can talk about getting cleared. And so for me, I just want to make it back with this senior class. I've been playing with these girls since freshman year of high school, and just to be able to finish it out with them, and just this team has been amazing this season, and I just want to make it back and be able to have an impact on the field too. And so I guess that was my motivation to get back, is just to be with the senior class and these people who, have pushed me throughout the years and who have been there for me throughout the road the whole time, and that was just a really important part for me.
How has the family culture of this group impacted the way that you play and the way you communicate?
Yeah, throughout the 4 years, the culture has been changing so much in such a positive way, and that's props to Coach right here. The family culture is a real thing on this team, and, the biggest thing is just with the family culture comes a lot of respect. And so with the respect of each player, you can demand things out of people, and I think that's the biggest impact it's had on the field. With the playing wise is, you can't ask something of someone if they're not going to respect what you're saying or you're not doing it yourself. And so I think it just changes people's attitude and their willingness to do it for their team. And especially this year has been a lot different with mistakes. We've said, we know that mistakes are going to happen, and it's all about the response. And especially this year, if you make a mistake, I know that my teammates have my back. That's not on every team, and that's not, every season, but this season has been a lot different. And it comes from that family culture that has been building throughout the years.
Stefanie, what did Emily show you in the fact that she was able to come back from the ACL so quick?
Everything that we already knew about her. She's somebody who, it was never the expectation for her to get back that quickly. But the fact that she was in that position was no surprise to anybody who's spent any amount of time around her. Her commitment to doing everything at the highest level possible is insane. Like she said, when it first happened and she thought about that timeline and stuff, it's kind of, am I going to even have my senior season? And we try to take the pressure off right away and say, look, if we've got to redshirt you and bring you back next year, we're prepared to do that. last thing she wanted to hear for sure. And, you know, every single day, like she did not miss one day. And there was not a single day where she went in mopey, feeling sorry for herself, or not putting forward a tremendous effort to get it done. And everybody who surrounded her through the process wrapped their arms around her and helped lift her up and keep her in that place and focused. And it was never easy. Like, you know, not one thing about it is easy. There were days where I'm sure she went home and probably cried her eyes out in her own pillow in her bedroom, but never would let anybody else know how hard that struggle is or what that looked like. And so, you know, she is a leader in every sense of the word. You know, one of the things that we wanted to ensure throughout the process was that she never lost her impact from that standpoint, because when you go from playing all the time and you're a center back who everybody's looking to, and now you're off the field, like you don't want to lose that impact and that touch that you have on everybody else. And so we tried to pour into her that she had earned that respect and she had earned that right to continue to do that. And it took her a little bit to be comfortable in her voice with that. But I would say by the end of the spring, she was one of the most impactful voices that we had from the sideline. And as she worked her way back into it and stepping onto the field, where, again, accelerated process, there's a lot of uncertainty that comes along with it at first, right? And it did not take her long at all to step on and continue to have that voice to lead vocally, not just by what she's actually doing. So, you know, just a tremendous human being who, like, no matter what she goes on to do after she's done playing soccer at the University of Minnesota, she's going to be ultra successful.
Add some emotion for you when the goal goes in.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where there were so many different pieces to that for us. One, April's involved in both goals, but she's not putting it in the back of the net. And so I think that puts some people on edge of, man, if you keep her from putting the ball in the back of the net, Minnesota can't score. Oh, wait, yes, they can. You know, I think for it to be Emily Peterson, who has a story that she has, is incredible. You don't count on center backs to score goals, and you especially don't count on center backs to score goals in that kind of a game and that kind of a moment. But I actually said to Emily after the game, I said, "Hey, I think I've seen you do that in club soccer before." And she goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you were playing an outside midfield position then, and so you were much higher up the field, but I've seen her make that kind of run, and she's just so composed, no matter where she is in the field or no matter what kind of pressure she's under." And like, for that to be her in that moment, I think was something that everybody in the program celebrated in a bigger way than if it had been somebody else, for sure.
So was it unscripted then?
Unscripted in a sense of, so with set pieces in that kind of area of the field where it's within striking range, but they're setting up with a wall and there's some other things, like it's kind of on April or Emily Heslin or whoever's over the ball to kind of scan and see what they see and what they like. And April, when she set the ball and took the step back, she said based on where the wall was, she knew they were expecting her to finish, and there was enough room between where the wall was and where that next player was to where she felt like she could put something in there and be a little bit more dangerous with it that way. So one of the things that we empower our players to do is be decision makers. And in that area of the field, there's a lot of decisions that you can make. We could have had somebody run over the ball. Like, that's something that we train as well. So she made a really good decision on what she was going to do and knew and felt confident that we were going to have somebody where they needed to be.
What was the feeling after the game or coming home knowing we're alive?
Oh, what'd you say? Sorry. Can you repeat it?
What was the feeling after the game, final whistle blows, or you're on the way home and it's kind of sinking in that you guys have another game to play?
Yeah. Oh, it was a great feeling. I think going in the game, especially with opponents from different conferences, you don't really know what to expect, I guess. I mean, we watched film, but you've never played them before. So going into the game, it's kind of a lot of questions, and you really have to problem solve, especially in that first half. But after the game, especially winning 2-0, it wasn't just the one goal that got it done. It was the two goals that got it done. And it was just a feeling of you know, like our season isn't done yet. People did not expect us to even make the tournament. So that was a great feeling to not only get into the tournament, but actually prove to people that we can make it further than the first round in the tournament.
All right, that's all the time we got. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Volleyball up next week, guys. Thanks, Emily.